You went out on a limb. You picked the Heat to win this series. So are you still feeling confident now that Game 1 is in the books in Miami?
Well, Molly, first of all, I don't believe that I went out on a limb for picking the team that actually made it to the NBA Finals.
Okay, sorry for the trigger word.
They knocked off the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics, the two teams that had the best record in the NBA. That's number one. Number two is that I still feel confident in the Miami Heat team. I'm not going to overreact from this Game 1, although the Nuggets did play well. But like Jimmy Butler said, they're going to make adjustments. I feel like Eric Spoelstra, the best coach in basketball, I got the utmost trust in him when it comes down to putting his guys in position to be successful. I will say this, though. When you look at the NBA Finals, it is different. It is different. When you walk into the arena, it is different. The vibe when you walk out to get your pregame shots before you run out with the team, it's different. And I think we saw that last night when it came down to the role players of the Miami Heat. Max Strus, Caleb Martin. They felt the energy. Now, it's even harder when you're on the road. And number two, I seen too many my bads that had nothing to do with adjustments. It was simple switches that could have been communicated. And two of those were in the second quarter by Bam Adebayo. And I thought when the Heat were chipping away at that double-figure lead, those two switches back-to-back, that really cost them to make a run. Not saying that they was going to win the game, but you need that, especially from a guy that's in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation every single season. And I watched him go to the bench, and he sat down, he looked down towards the end of the bench and said, "My bad." No, you can't have my bads on those mistakes. So I'm still confident that the Heat can win this series. I will give a lot of credit to the Denver Nuggets. They came out, they found the mismatches, but I do believe Eric Spoelstra will make adjustments, and he will have his team ready for Game 2.
You know what, Perk? I just want to say this. I have no evidence. I have no proof of this whatsoever. It's just sheer speculation. I think this is the first time that I've looked at you and I said to myself, he is lying to the American public. There is no way in hell that he can believe that there is nothing to be concerned about with the Miami Heat. I'm looking at the Denver Nuggets. They just seem so much bigger. Miami seems so much smaller. You spent the first three quarters shooting 7 of 27 from three-point range. We've got a guy in Max Strus. I understand, John Starks 0 for 11 in 94. I mean, I forgot who else it was. I think it was Steph Curry one year. He went 0 for 9. Ray Allen went 0 for 13 in 2010. You were there. You was teammate. You know this. But to be 0 for 10 from three-point range, I mean, Max Strus, he was just awful. Caleb Martin was awful. I don't expect that to continue because you can't get much worse than what we've seen from them. But when you look at the greatness of Jokic, when you look at Jamal Murray, when you look at Aaron Gordon bully his way to 12 first quarter points, and everywhere you turned, there was just a size mismatch on the part of the Denver Nuggets. I just looked at Miami and I was like, my God, they just look so small. They look so little compared to Denver. How are they going to overcome this? Cody Zeller was in the lineup. I mean, I'm not trying to laugh at the brother. I wish him nothing but the best, but my Lord, I'm like, if you're in Miami, this is the same Miami Heat team in 2006 that had Shaq and Alonzo Mourning. I remember, I'm sitting there and Jerry Stackhouse and those boys are telling me back then we were actually fearful when Alonzo Mourning came in the game because he was a racer. He was erasing everything. You think about that. You think about the big men that Miami have had on their squad with their championships. And then you just say to yourself, you look at them last night, and my God, I'm not even talking talent. I'm just talking size. I just said, man, they just look so small. So to me, that in and of itself is big reason to get worried because there's not much that they can do if they're not making their perimeter shots because they certainly ain't going to make but so much noise in the interior.
Yeah, I'm not confident in the Miami Heat, and I picked the Denver Nuggets to win this series, and I after last night, I have no evidence to suggest they won't. And you guys have brought up some of these concerns for the Heat side. The thing is, we've now played we've seen 16 Denver Nuggets playoff games. No one has found an answer for the Jokic-Murray two-man action, and that was on full display last night. second time in NBA history that teammates have scored 25 points and 10 or more assists. And the only other time was 1987, Game 1, Magic and James Worthy. We'll get to more on that two-man action in a little bit. The size disparity that you guys brought up, it was on full display in that first quarter. Every time that Aaron Gordon got a switch, he absolutely punished it. On the other end of the floor, Aaron Gordon on Jimmy Butler. Jimmy only had 8 drives, his lowest in this postseason. A lot of that had to do with Aaron Gordon. Then they decide to target Michael Porter Jr. because they think he's a bad defender. Okay, well, you shot 1 for 9 against Michael Porter Jr. when he was the primary defender because he's 6'10". So the size is on both ends of the floor. Then the zone, which a lot of has been made of this Miami zone. They came out to start the second quarter in the zone. Jokic was off the floor. Denver scored on 4 of the first 5 possessions against that zone. Then Jokic came back in the game. They went away from it. They went back to it in the fourth. Denver was 4 for 11, but they had 4 great looks from 3. They missed those, which brings me to my last point. Everybody's going to talk about Max Strus missing shots and Caleb Martin missing shots and Duncan not being able to get himself going. The Denver Nuggets shot 8 for 27 from 3. Michael Porter Jr., their best three-point shooter, was 2 for 11 and had a lot of good looks. Let's not act like the Denver Nuggets played their best basketball game. There's a lot to be concerned about if you're the Miami Heat.
Are Jokic and Murray the best duo in the game?
Yeah, I do. I think they're easily actually the best duo in the game. And this isn't about 2K ratings or one-on-one bucket getters or aggregate stats totaling, total points between your 2 best players. This is about how they affect the game of basketball, which is a team sport. And to use an Aaron Rodgers word, there's synchronicity on the basketball court. There's a connectivity. There's an intuitiveness to how they play basketball. I got a couple plays here I want to break down. So let's start with this, because right now, if you're the Miami Heat, you've got your 2 best defenders, Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler, on Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. Couldn't ask for a better situation. Let's run it. They get to this low pick and roll. Eventually it gets to a switch, and Jokic gets the ball in the post. Now, he's going to survey the field. So he's going to wait. Murray is in this little loaded position. Bam, loading to the basketball. Nikola Jokic has his eyes dead set on this action right here. What is going to happen here? And what makes Jamal Murray so special is his ability to play off the basketball and on the basketball. So a little rip screen here. They don't want to switch it because Michael Porter Jr. can cut to the basket and get a dunk. They stay at home. Easy Jamal Murray 3. Again, moving without the basketball, playing off of Jokic. Then Kyle Lowry has just hit 2 threes. It's a 10-point game right here in the fourth quarter. What do you need? What do you need? We can always go to the 2-man game between Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. So they're going to get into this action right here. Jokic rolls to the short roll, and watch Jeff Green right here behind the defense. They create so much for everyone else. Because of their synchronicity, because of their connectiveness, everybody on this team gets to eat. And that's why they're the best duo. Because they impact the game not just with their scoring, their passing, their playmaking. Everybody on the Denver Nuggets relies on these 2 guys and this duo.
You know what? I have no argument about them being the best duo in this postseason. I'm not ready to crown them for as being the best duo overall because, again, it comes down to the best player in the league conversation. It's fluid. It fluctuates every single month. It fluctuates every single year. 1 minute is Steph. 1 minute is Giannis. 1 minute we may say Clay and Steph is still the best duo. The next minute we say Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum the best duo. KD go to Phoenix. They the best duo. In this postseason, absolutely. You have no argument whatsoever for as Jokic and Murray being the best duo in the league. I have zero argument with you on that, JJ. I'm just talking about us as a whole when we go all over the place and we jump into these topics. Every single month it's a different best duo. So I'm going to give it to him in this postseason. Hold on. I want to, Stephen, I'll let you jump in. I want to, the last point I made is the important point here, Perk. It's not about individual skill. It's not about individual stats.
Obviously, we know Steph is great. We know KD and Book are great. We know Tatum and Brown are great. It's how these two players complement each other. That's what makes them the best duo right now. That's what made them the best duo in the regular season. That's what's going to make them the best duo next season. There is no duo that perfectly complement each other the way these two do, and it allows everyone else to shine in their roles.
I never said you was wrong. I thought you broke down the clip